Welcome and Yubovan. This is the PostGIS function of the week, episode 18. I'm Reese, and this week's function is stBuffer. Now, what is stBuffer? It's simply a function that creates a buffer or a zone of a given distance around geometry. Let's pop it to pSQL to have a look at the function signatures. So there are 8 variants, 3 for geography, and the rest deal with geometry. You can think of it as accepting at the very least a geometry or geography and a distance, which is the buffer distance. The buffer distance can also be negative. There are variants that will accept the geometry, a distance, and an integer, which will be for the variant that can change the number of points in a quarter circle. I'll show an example of what that is. And then there is a geometry, a distance, and a text string, which include lots of options. I'll go through the options as well in the video. All right, let's do a very quick and simple example. Let's do a buffer around point 10, 10, and we'll have a distance of 50. And let us, of course, use st as text to see what it actually looks like. All right, so whenever you do a buffer, you will always get back a polygon. Always. It could be a polygon empty in some cases where you use a negative distance, and we will discuss that as well. All right, so there is your simple example. All right, let me show you what it looks like visually with our parishes table. So let's create table. Well, let's us do what I like to do first, which is create a schema for all my data. So we're going to create a schema called buff, and we will do all our stuff in there for this video today. Parishes. We're gonna do select parish SD buffer geom. Let's do 50. No, this will be a gotcha. Works well as expected. However, check this out. If I pop into QGIS and I refresh my schemas, I have this here. Add to project, I get these ginormous circles. Let's compare it to, now why is that? That is because this table is not in my local coordinates, it is in lat long, and therefore that 50 I gave it in the buffer distance is 50, I suspect, degrees. So let's do a more sensible example by using st transform to convert the geometry to a projected or local coordinate system. And let us call this parishes 3448. All right, perfect. If we pop back into QGIS, hit refresh, and now add this, and let me remove or, now 50 meters is not very big, but it's big enough. Let's pull it under so you can see the difference. So here's your buffer distance of 50 meters. We can also do a negative buffer. Let's do negative 5,000 meters. Let's call this negative. All right, this took a little bit longer. Now let us pop back in. Let us add the negative buffer. And look at that. So this grayish region is the negative buffer of each parish or each geometry. Alrighty, so that is a little more complex example. The different variations for that third variant. So I mentioned quad segs. You can change the join type. I'm going to do the quad segs first and show you what that looks like. All right, so we're going to create a table, and we're going to use generate series to help us create a series of points, and we're going to buffer each point. And the only thing I'm changing is the y coordinate of the point and also the number of quad segments in each buffered point. So let's give that a look. Alrighty, let's now pop back into QGIS and add that table. And it looks normal, but if we go all the way to the bottom, we will see that the first, well, buffered point is really a square, and the second one has 6 sides. So basically the quarter circle, how many points are in each quarter circle? And of course, the higher you go, the more circular it gets. So at 50 points per quad seg, it looks really circular. And we can actually utilize a function we learned earlier called ST endpoints to determine the number of points in each buffered area. Oops, I spelled it down wrong. I didn't realize. So there you go. Number of points in each buffered. So that is the quad segs. No, the even more complicated or potentially complicated or in-depth variant has a quadrazillion options. All right, so what I'll do, and I will speed this part up, is just to create a table, and each column of the table will have one option from the options list. Alrighty, that took a little while to do. There was a small hiccup along the way. I think I should do a video detailing the beautiful intricacies, or rather the deep integration that exists between PostGIS and QGIS. Alright, so long story short, I have here a table and a view. The table is called option examples, and it is a very simple table. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns. Primary key, the distance will be the distance for the buffer, and then each of these, the quad segs, end cap, join, miter limit, and side, are options that you can give to the buffer function. So what is very, very cool is there is going to be like a reactive view. Well, views are reactive, but it's going to be reactive in the context of QGIS because I have turned on, what did I turn on? I have turned on automatic transaction groups. So as a change is made, it will refresh the view and you'll see what's happening. So let's do a simple example. Let's zoom into Kingston Harbor, which is this area right here, and let us create a line All right, let us create a line. Pressed the wrong button a while ago. And we're gonna have a buffer of 100 meters. Let's put the quad segs at 3. End cap will be square. Joint type will be round. We have to put in the miter limit, and let's put it on both sides. And look at that. So pretty straightforward, although you may notice this had a very flat end. If we were to change the end type from square to flat, it does that. In fact, let me actually try and just open the attribute table and do it this way instead of clicking perpetually on. Alrighty, coolio. So that's change side from right. It's on the right side. Can be on the left side. If we have the end cap as round, then we'll notice that the quad segs come into play. So let's change this from 3 to 1. Looks like a little arrow. Change it to 100. And it's a nice circle. And it appears that when you use left or right, then the end cap is always going to be flat. Yeah. Let's play around with miter, the join type. Let's look at the little join where it bends here. Yeah. Well, let's look at bevel first, see if that makes a difference. Let's do a second. With a very sharp corner. Let's do the buffer distance of 100. The quad segs at 10. End cap is round. Join type is bevel. And side is both. Ooh, looks that. Let me make it a little bit smaller to get a more pronounced effect. Let's put it at 20 meters. Yeah. So we can see what the different options are in terms of bevel and miter and whatnot. There's no mitered. It's supposed to be a ratio. Let's put 0.5. If that changes anything. Ah, this is really cool. It's always good to have something visual to know what you really want. Okay, nice. Alrighty. Let's change it back from miter to bevel. And if we put it at round, then I suspect it will look roundish. Alright, as expected. The question is, do the quad segments affect the join style if it is round? Let's put this as 2. It does indeed. So quad segments affect, well, wherever round is applicable. And again, if you put it at the left or right, it defaults to a flat cap. Interesting. All right, folks. This was fun for me. I mean, I learned a little bit extra here today. I never really used all these intricate options in SD Buffer. Yeah, feel free to create something similar and play around using QGIS and views. The key is to always activate or turn on set transaction mode to automatic transaction groups. Yeah, I like it. All right, folks, Bye.